Hey everybody, Krystal Gamer here with a new episode of Rags to Riches starring Katerina Loverly, our once homeless, penniless, friendless, and fat and frumpy girl who has graduated from living in a tent to owning her own home and is much, much warmer and cozier this winter than last winter. Now, speaking of seasons, some time has passed since we last saw Katerina. You'll remember the last time ended up in a terrible disaster of a date with Edward, where he rejected her not once, but twice. And she almost just hung it up and decided to give up on humans permanently and just socialize with Treasure. The dog's much easier for her after all. But she figured she'd give the social thing one more shot. So she went to the Spice Festival with Lexi again, and at first things were fine. But then there was this other girl there, and the three of them were talking, and something happened. Katerina had no idea what went wrong, but all of a sudden, Lexi became very uncomfortable. Katerina tried to engage her, but the girl just would not loosen up. So she did manage to convince Lexi to participate in the spice eating contest, which Katerina then won and got a cool t-shirt for to boot. But Lexi didn't seem to enjoy the event very much, though, unfortunately. She still seemed out of sorts. And this isn't the first time that things have been weird with Lexi when they were out either. And so Katerina is just starting to wonder if maybe she needs to just either give up on this social stuff altogether or what. Either way, after what happened with Edward, and now this weirdness with Lexi, Katerina decides that it might be best to focus on other things for a while. And she has her new music mixing station at home, after all now. But first priorities, winter is fast approaching, and if there's any more money to be made in fishing, Katerina is going to make it before it gets cold. And that's exactly what she does. She makes a pretty penny several times over on more than one fishing trip. And then she spends most of it on the house. Now, she's not too terribly worried about it, though, because even though she knows that there won't be any income from fishing for a while, she has decent royalties now, at least several hundred a week. So she should be good. But before we go into any of that, let's take a look at the updates on the house. She has new flooring and wall coverings throughout. And in case any of the game players are wondering, yes, it's all CC. Almost everything on the walls is CC as well. But anyway, back to it. She rearranged the music mixing station. She didn't like facing the wall, working facing the wall. And right in front of that, you may have noticed that she decided to take up a new instrument. So she figured since the winter is coming and she's going to be indoors a lot, learning another instrument wouldn't be a bad thing. Anything to add to the music career, right? So she's going to pick that up as well. And she also has a brand new dinette set, much prettier than the previous set. There is now a pass-through going into her bedroom, which has been enlarged. If I turn things around, we can get a better look at that. It's still a cozy space for her, but not quite as cramped as it was. The big pink bear is a gift from Treasure, one of the things that he brought her from one of his scouting missions. The little figurine on the nightstand is something that she dug up somewhere in her own scouting missions. And yes, that's a penguin television on the floor. What can I say? It was the cheapest one they had. Of course, if I move to the left over here, you can see a wall clock that Katerina spent entirely too much money on. If she had saved on this wall clock, she could have gotten a better TV. But it's a music wall clock. How could she resist it? Besides, they told her it's by this up-and-coming custom artist called Krystal Gamer. I couldn't get it out with a straight face. Anyway, the bathroom got spruced up with new flooring tile and new wall tile and a small window. And now, of course, there's still a lot to do and to get for the house and all that, but Katerina is starting to finally feel like this place is looking like a home. And it's a home she's very happy and thankful to have this winter, especially as it snows outside. It's much prettier from in here. She remembers almost freezing to death last winter, finding shelter in the museum during the blizzard, thank goodness. This year, she has her cozy little home with its thermostat that she can set to keep herself warm. She has Treasure, who is truly a treasure to her, and she has her music that's doing well. And in fact, she used her new music mixer and she's already released several tracks. She got picked up by one of the labels and her music is selling and she's collecting even more in royalties. Now, royalties from tracks do not seem like a lot now, but she's betting that they increase as her mixing skills increase and as she puts more out. And there's another huge side benefit, and she's going to bet that how much money she makes on royalties goes hand in hand with the other benefit, and that is the fact that she is getting famous. Yes, folks, you heard that right. Our Katerina is getting famous. She is now a 1-star celebrity. She even gained a celebrity quirk, which, oh, by the way, I think is just, it's a little unfair, isn't it? Like, shouldn't she be at least a level 3-star celebrity before she gets a quirk? But anyway, it is what it is, and apparently she better become an excellent cook now, because she is now a snobby eater, which they phrase far more pleasantly by saying that she has a refined palate. Now, I don't know if this means that she can no longer eat cereal or what exactly the restrictions are, but I'm sure I'll find out. On the positive end of the spectrum, though, she gained 1 fame point, which I used for the corporate partnership perk, since that one seems to be best for artists who work with the music mixer. Okay, so that pretty much catches us up to where Katerina is now, about a quarter of the way through winter. She's focusing on writing more songs, producing tracks, and now learning the violin too. She's been a bit on the hermity side since it's been cold and snowy and all of that stuff, which gives you and I a chance to get a little real about Katerina and her story. Her real story. Now, we've been distracted by building up her Windenburg, and we've been having Sims fun with her on her dates that she's totally screwed up and all that. So it's been a good time, but we haven't really talked about her story and how she's really doing for a while. So she's been away from that abusive ex-asshole for about 1.5 years now, with living on the streets and in tents for nearly a year of that time. So now with the house and the progression of the house and all that, obviously she's coming along financially. God knows she's worth a hell of a lot more now than she was back when we first met her. Her career is progressing too, like we talked about, even to the point that she's earning some fame now, like we were just talking about. All good. But what the hell is happening with her socially? She supposedly lives in a town that is rife with eligible singles, yet she can't seem to have a really good social outing. And she still hasn't managed to make whoopee with anyone yet either. So she definitely keeps busy, and she's good at occupying herself and all of that stuff, especially with her focus on getting out of poverty and building herself up career-wise and all of that stuff. But truth be told, she feels a bit lonely often. But at least so far, she can't seem to bring herself to get close to anyone, not even a little bit. And on top of that, she hasn't talked with anyone about what happened to her, what that asshole did to her. No one. But she thinks she's fine. She thinks she's doing well. And, you know, maybe she is. But I think that we can see that she's probably not as fine as she thinks she is. In fact, this social issue, I don't know about you guys, but this looks like self-sabotaging to me. And it would seem to me that she's suppressing what happened to her rather than actually getting over it. So, I don't know, what's she going to do? What to do? Well, maybe some help is on the way. We'll see. Do you guys remember that best friend Danny Katerina had all through her childhood? The one that she lost touch with after she moved overseas and all that? Well, guess who just showed up at Katerina's doorstep? You've got it. Thanks to Katerina's latest track release, there was an article about her in the paper. Danny ran across it and, well, she's a detective now, so it wasn't too hard to track Katerina down. And that's where I'm going to leave you off on the main storyline today. We'll see what happens with Katerina and Danny next week. But before we go, I figured I'd quickly show you Katerina's new outfits. You may have noticed them in the clips, but in case you didn't, here they are. And I figured I'd get her a couple of things for winter. It did set her back a couple $100, but I figured I'd get her a couple more things for winter, give her some versatility, because I like versatility. On the house, she also had to spend a little bit of extra money. She had to break down and buy a door and close up the bedroom because she was keeping treasure up to the point of exhaustion with her constant violin and guitar practice. Finally, I thought I'd share her last couple of royalty reports with you. So on the first week that we're showing here, she made over $500, and on the second week she made over $700. So overall, it's going up every week, which is great. So she's doing pretty well for herself too. And the thing is, if you look at this, you can tell that tracks don't make as much, at least initially, as the songs do. And all of them, the songs and the tracks, they go down every week. And I think you only get paid for them so many weeks, and then you stop getting paid. You know, they just keep reducing, and then they fall off. And no, I don't know why the first two music tracks have the same name. I think that I just took the default name on the tracks a couple of times, and it ended up duplicating. So it is what it is. But I'm really liking that the last track that she released is $149. So that's pretty good. That's actually even more than her song that she licensed now, which is going down by the week. It was making a lot more money originally, but that's going down by the week. But the tracks, she can keep producing those. And unlike the licensed songs, unfortunately, in the game, they only allow you to license one song a week per instrument. So they sort of limit the licensing of songs, where it seems like you can license more tracks. It's limited, but you can license them more often than you can songs. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, that's where Katerina is. That's how much money she's making weekly. Her bills are a lot more expensive than they used to be, though. Not sure what her most recent set of bills was, but I know it's over $500 now. So her bills are getting up there too. Her possessions are getting up there, so her bills are getting up there. But in any case, she's doing pretty well. She's doing pretty well overall. And that's her story for today. And so I hope you like this. And if you do, please do hit the like button before you head out. Comment, share, subscribe. You guys know the drill. All that stuff helps us YouTubers out a whole ton. And I appreciate it so much when you do. And I hope to see y'all back again next time. Bye now.